Hi everyone, my name is Helen and I work for EY. I'm a talent attraction advisor, so I work in the student recruitment team in our Newcastle office. So today I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about EY, who we are, what we do, and our application process as well. If you are wanting to sign up, you can scan the QR code that is shown on the screen now with your phone. And I will show this at the end of the presentation as well. So this will just register you for a follow-up email where I'll share some links to our website, to the application hints and tips, and to a site that we would recommend for online tests as well. So today I'm just going to talk about who we are, what we do, the working world and how we fit into it, our programs and opportunities, and our application process as well. There'll be time for questions at the end. If you want to send your questions in throughout the presentation, that's fine. I can't see them at the minute just because my whole screen's taken over by the slides, but I will be able to answer those at the end. So EY are a professional services firm. So what we do is we help clients solve their business, their finance, or their technology issues. So clients are businesses that will come to us and pay us for this service. We are putting innovation across everything that we do. We are trying to bring all of our clients into the forefront of technology in order to help keep their company alive. We want clients to trust us. We want to give them good guidance and we want to remain ethical as we do this as well. We operate in 700 locations, 21 of which are in the UK. We have 300,000 EY people worldwide. We're in 150 different countries, and our revenue in 2019 was 35 billion US dollars. So you can kind of see the size of the company, but I think when you actually start with EY, you'll realize how absolutely massive it actually is, and it's a great place if you want to go anywhere in the world with your career. It's a great place to start. So these are our 21 UK offices. I only recruit for the UK, so I can only actually answer questions about UK application processes. I work in the Newcastle office. I am from Belfast, so I've got some experience of the Belfast office as well. And I've been to quite a lot of the offices on the list here. The majority of our graduate programs and summer internships are available in these offices, but I would decide on a service line first and then decide on what location to go for, as some offices don't have all of our service lines. So, for example, Newcastle only has tax, assurance, and consulting. We don't have anything in strategy and transactions. So the way that we work with clients differs across our service lines. So we've got assurance, consulting, strategy and transactions, and tax. And then we've got some other business areas, actuarial and technology, but these fall under consulting. So I'm going to just take you through some details about these now. So assurance is also known as audit. So in assurance, you can learn about the audit process as part of a team, or you could work in data analytics and you could use technology platforms to test and analyze clients' data. You would do audits on a yearly basis. There's a lot of travel involved, and you tend to go out and work on client site most of the time in non-COVID times. Then we have tax. So tax is where you could either work with companies or you could work with high net worth individuals, and you will help them pay the right amount of tax. You will help companies understand the tax laws in all of the countries that they operate in. And then you would also help them with classifying VAT categories for companies. So a lot of people, if they're not sure what to go into and they haven't studied accountancy or anything, a lot of people that do law like to go into tax because it's a lot of legislation and you're constantly learning as well. There's not as much travel involved with tax. You tend to work just in the office, but you speak to clients a lot over the phone and on email as well. Then we have consulting. So within consulting, you can do several different things. So you can do performance improvement. So you could work with the clients to streamline processes to help make their business more efficient. You could do strategy consulting. So you will basically be helping implement new strategies, but you need to understand how the client's business operates so that you can offer the best advice for them. And we want you to be able to provide clients with the right solution, even in difficult circumstances. So with assurance and tax, you tend to know what times of year you'll be busy. So there'll be an audit cycle, and there'll also be a tax year end that you'll work towards every year for your clients. But in consulting and also strategy and transactions, there's a lot more downtime. It's really like peaks and troughs with the work. So sometimes you don't know when the next bit of work will be coming. And then other times it's crazy busy. So there's not really a way of predicting it in the way that you could in assurance and tax. Then we've got strategy and transactions. This is also known as corporate finance. So you could be helping clients become more cost effective, especially if they're facing financial difficulties. So you could help them sell off some of their assets to gain some money back, or if they're going to administration, you'd be liquidating those assets, and then you'd also be helping make redundancies as well. And you could also advise clients on mergers and acquisitions. So again, there's a little bit of law involved in this section of strategy and transactions. But like I said, you don't really know when the work's going to come. So a company could go bust one day, and then the next day you could be flying out to meet with them to help them do that, or else tender for their business. So it's really stop start, but it's always really interesting work, no matter what service line you go into. Then I did mention that we've also got technology. So technology sits under consulting, but you could be doing things like helping with technology strategy, so implementing innovative technology and finding out what one is right for a business and helping them to put that into practice. You could also be using specialist technology to work with clients, making sure that their data is accurate and consistent. So things like IT risk assurance or cybersecurity. So we do have specific technology roles, but it's also weaved through every service line that we have. And it's also useful for the application process to learn more about how we use technology. So, local and international clients in all industries. We work with clients. These are businesses. These could be small businesses, they could be large businesses, they could be public companies, they could be private companies. In the FS side of our business, you'll be working with banks, wealth and asset management companies, and insurance companies. And then in the UKI side of our business, you would be working with companies of like any other company, basically. So, it could be the government, it could be a large um, app. It could be a large retail company, oil and gas. There's loads of different industries that we work across. And the best thing about working outside of London is that you don't have to specialize in one of these industries. You can work with clients in all different kinds of industries, giving you a wide breadth of knowledge of how these clients work in different industries. If you work in the London office, then you will have to specialize in an industry and you'll only work with clients in those industries. So I can't actually see the responses to this, but if you want to send this in now, then I could review it at the end. So I just wanted to find out what you're looking for in an employer. So just using one word, tell us what is important to you with an employer. I think things are definitely changing. I think my parents' generation would definitely have just wanted to go with the employer that is going to pay the most. But I think now sustainability comes into it a lot. Job security, the culture, the people, the travel opportunities. There's a lot more that comes into actual looking for an employer now rather than just money, basically. So yeah, if you just want to put that in the chat now, and then I'll review it again once I've finished with the presentation. I'll just pause for a second and let people send that in. I can't actually see if anyone is or not. Cool. So just moving on to YEY. So hopefully I'll be able to match up some of the things that you've said. Obviously, it's just a guessing game at the moment. But we have built a unique working culture on the following principles. So, flexibility. So, normally around 84% of our workforce work flexibly. At the minute, it's obviously 100% of the workforce. We were really quick at responding to the COVID crisis, and we all went into home working about a week before lockdown. We were really, really quick to implement that. And to be honest, I've had no technical difficulties at all with it. So it's been pretty good on that side. We invest a lot in training and development. So there's 13 million hours of learning done by our employees every year. We have made a free tech MBA available for all of our colleagues. We have mentoring, and we also do things called EY badges. So these could be in any area. At the moment, I'm doing one in inclusive behaviours and also in teaming. And there's some that are a bit more specialist to the service lines as well. We support entrepreneurs, so we do Entrepreneur of the Year every year. We are growing really quickly. We want to provide global opportunities. And there's also diversity, which I'll talk to you about in a second. And we also encourage community work as well. So we give everyone 2 CSR days to use, and we have a charity called the EY Foundation, which is a social mobility charity that operates within the UK. So we just have a bit of a pledge to help back up our belonging at EY promise. So we support diversity of thought and diversity of skills because it means that we can deliver even more innovative solutions for our clients. We find that the most diverse teams are the ones that perform the highest. And we also want to open up the conversation and opportunities by being a leading voice in the market on diversity and inclusion. So our pledge is to double the proportion of our female and Black minority ethnic talent in the UK to 40% female and 20% Black, Asian, minority ethnic by July 2025. And we also want to commit that 15% of our BME target will be Black partners. So we're working with our women's network, and we're also working with the race and ethnicities network to try and make that happen. We are supporting people with disabilities. So accessibility isn't an empty phrase for us. We embed it into everything that we do, including our application process. And then we have our EY Ability Network to ensure that people get the support that they need in work. And we also support diversity in educational backgrounds as well. So that's part of what our EY Foundation does. They are a social mobility charity. And we also want people that don't just have a background in accounting and finance. Of course, we want those people as well, but we will take people from all degree backgrounds. We want people to think differently, and people do have had different experiences as well in order to bring different things to the table. So just moving on to the working world. So, like I said, we're kind of embedding technology across everything that we do at EY. I must admit, I'm not the hottest on technology. Like, I don't have to work with really any of these things. Sometimes I'll do things like analytics and looking at, you know, recruitment trends and things like that, but this is definitely a lot more embedded in our service lines. So we do things like robotic process automation. So we've invented our own robotic process automations, and those are put in so that rather than our graduates doing loads of repetitive data entry tasks, our RPA will do that for them, and they can spend more time getting to know the client or being able to give more in-depth advice to people. We do things like data analytics, like I mentioned, on our assurance service line. So that helps form part of the audit process, and it helps give really valuable insights and a much easier way to view things rather than just testing sets of data. We now can test the whole thing. Cybersecurity. So obviously, there's a lot of things always in the news about people being cyber attacked. GDPR is a big thing. So clients need to make sure that their systems and all their information is secure, so we can help with that. So yeah, I would just recommend looking at all 6 of these and doing a little bit of research before you apply to us. Our programs and opportunities. So this is a quick guide to our different programs for university students. So we've got an Insight Day, which is Discover EY. There are 3 Insight events. There's Women in Business, Black Heritage in Business, and Women in Technology. And this is part of our pledge in order to make EY more diverse and reach that goal that we're aiming for that I mentioned before. Then we've got the 6 week summer internship program. We've got the 12-month industrial placement program, and then we have our up to 3 year graduate program. So just a little bit more detail on these. So Discover EY is a one day inside experience. There'll be panel sessions with experts in the various fields. You'll hear from senior leaders on their experiences at EY. You can take part in Q&As. There'll be networking opportunities with current graduates and senior leaders, and then you can hear from our global networks on their diversity initiatives as well. So this is normally in person. This year it had to be virtual, obviously. Hopefully by 2021 we can have it in person again, but I think we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes, really. We'll just keep following the government's guidance, and yeah, it's kind of all we can really do, but it's still a really valuable day no matter what. So if you do the Discover EY, you will then be fast tracked to a summer internship. So the summer internship is a 6 week program. It gives you a true feel for the working world. You will choose a service line and then you will just go in as if you had started your first day as a grad. You will be with some other summer interns. You will work on client projects with your team. You will do, you'll go out to client site, you'll do actual client work, and you'll also work on a intern project as well. And then after that, there's a good chance that you'll be offered a graduate position. I think about over 80% of our summer interns then move on to a graduate role. Then we've got an industrial placement program. So this is a year-long program that gives you a head start on your professional qualifications. So within that first year, you would start your first year of your qualification. Then when you come back as a graduate, you will join as a second year grad. So you kind of get a head start there and you've started your qualification and then go back to uni and then come back to us. So again, it'll just be on the job experience. You'll be earning a salary. You get paid obviously for the summer internship as well. And you will work on a service line. You will probably have to report back to your uni on some of the stuff that you're doing on your placement. But it's just like joining us for a year and you'd be doing real client work that whole time. Then finally, we've got our graduate program. So these are 2 or 3 year programs. Again, it's going to be hands-on client experience from day one in your chosen service line. You can only apply for one service line at a time when you are applying. You will do a professional qualification. So I think strategy and transactions, tax and assurance, you will either do the ACA qualification by ICAEW or you will do the ICAS qualification. They're both pretty interchangeable. In consulting, you tend to do the first year of your SEMA qualification. And then there's some other more specific ones in technology and actuarial. So you will work with local, national, and global clients. You will just gain all the skills that you need. You'll network with the business, and you can just shape your career into what you want it to be. If you need any help deciding on the service line, you can use these various tools. So you can do the EY and U quiz, you can do the EY Pathfinder quiz. And if you have any questions that are specific to people in the service lines, you can visit us on Path Motion and I will share the link in the chat after this. And you can go on there and ask them specific questions about their day-to-day jobs. Great, so just moving on to our application process. So we recruit based on strengths. The reason that we do this is obviously I said before we really value diversity of thought. We are not expecting people to have any job experience when they join us. So we want to know what makes you you, what potential you have in you, and what you've learned from your life experiences so far. So these are the core strengths that we are going to be measuring throughout the application process. So are you accountable for your own actions? Do you take responsibility for your work? Are you agile? Can you change your way of thinking and work in different formats and work over, for example, video call or face to face? Do you know what's going on in the world around you? Do you have commercial awareness? Do you know how a big news story may affect EY? Are you resilient? So can you take on negative feedback and then grow from that? Are you number savvy? So we're not asking anyone to be great at algebra or anything like that. We just need you to understand numbers and be able to talk about what they mean for somebody's business and those numbers into words in a way that somebody who's not so great with numbers can understand. Can you communicate with people from different backgrounds, different ages, in different manners as well? So, how's your email communication versus your phone communication? How's your face-to-face communication versus your video communication? That kind of thing. We need people that are able to talk to people no matter what format they're using. And we need people that are team players as well, so able to work with people from all kinds of different backgrounds, different cultures. We want people to build relationships within EY as well. So yeah, just take a picture of that. These are going to be the core strengths that we'll be measuring throughout the application process, and we want you to be able to demonstrate all of these. So our application process. So for the graduate scheme and the industrial placement scheme, it'll be 5 stages. So first of all, there'll be an application form. At this stage, you will pick what service line you're going to and what office. You will also let us know if you need any adjustments made throughout the application process, for example, extra time on tests, or extra time for reading, then you can let us know here as well. You don't need to tell us why, just let us know that you need an adjustment and someone will be in touch with you. Then once you finish that, you'll be invited to take our online assessments. So this includes a numerical reasoning exercise. So the numerical reasoning is time recorded. We won't give you a specific time to complete the numerical testing. So just constantly be aware of the time and try and complete it as quickly and as accurately as possible. I'm also going to put a link in for where you can practice these online tests. And then there'll be some things like written communication and things like that. Then you will, if you pass or if you fail, you'll get personalized feedback based on your strengths, telling you what you did well and what you could improve on. Then, if you've passed, you'll move on to the job simulation. So this will be specific to the service line that you've applied for. It's designed to give you an idea of what the actual job is going to be like. As part of this, you will have to answer some questions on video. So I would recommend practicing speaking into a camera. Maybe record yourself on your phone and then watch it back. Take notes of your facial expression, your tone of voice, your body language. How do you look? And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're actually going to get on camera as well. You'll also have to do things like write an email, and then you'll maybe have to do some things like, this is the scenario, how would you respond? So some scenario-based questions. Again, you will receive personalized feedback regardless of how you've done throughout the day on things that you've done well and things that you could improve on. Then you will move on to an experience day. So at the minute, these experience days are virtual. We prefer to do them face to face, but as we all know, we can't do that at the moment. So hopefully in 2021, we might be able to get these back face to face again. But during this time, you will have a one-to-one conversation with an assessor. You'll also do a group exercise, and you'll also do another numerical reasoning test. This one is going to be much shorter, and you're just given like a 10-minute time limit, for example, to complete that. I would just recommend that you just, go over everything that you've researched in the previous stages. Again, come with some information about technology, and also be aware in the group exercise, if you're quite a dominating personality, make sure you're bringing other people into the conversation. If you're more of a quiet personality, we need you to speak in order to be able to assess you. So just be aware of that and try and put the shyness aside as much as you possibly can. Try and speak out and try and give opinions as well. One thing that you could do if you're a bit shyer is you could take control of the time, and you could say, okay, well, I'm going to keep an eye on the time here. We've got half an hour to do this, and then give people warnings, and then that'll create a lull in the conversation where you can then put your input in as well. And it just shows that you're really conscientious. But when I say take control of the time, I see a lot of people who say they're going to take control of the time and then they get carried away and don't actually keep an eye on the time. So just make sure with whatever task you've said you'll take on that you're actually doing it. Again, then you'll get feedback on how you did after the experience day. And if you've passed, you'll be invited for a final interview, which will be virtual for the minute. During this time, you will speak with a senior member of the business of the service line that you have applied for. So it'll be someone that you're going to be working with in the future, and they will ask you some questions about your motivation. You will be given some pre-work to do and bring to the interview, and they just want to understand your strengths and who you are as a person and what you can bring to their team. So hopefully that has been quite comprehensive. There's a place on the website where you can go into more detail about all of these, and there's hints and tips as well if you want to check that out. For summer internships, you only have to do the first 4 stages, which I've already discussed. They're exactly the same. It's just that you don't have to do the final interview because during your summer internship, you will do something along the lines of a final interview anyway. Then for Discovery Y, you only have to do the online stages in order to apply. So just to make everyone aware, we operate an open access policy. So we do not screen out anyone based on their academics. We require a minimum of a grade 4 or a C in GCSE, English, language and maths. And then we require 3 A levels or the equivalent of. So we will take UCAS points into consideration, but what we will do is compare these to our we'll compare these to how you do in our process. So say, for example, your A levels are kind of average, but you do an amazing job on our online tests, then that'll kind of reflect an overall score. Or if you have like amazing A levels and you've done average on our online tests, then again, they kind of cancel each other out. So we do take them into consideration, but we do not screen anyone out based on these. We want everyone to have a chance to apply. And we also partner with Rare Recruitment. So they help us screen applications in the context of people's socioeconomic backgrounds. So this allows us to give people maximum credit for their achievements, assessing whether they have overachieved in light of their personal circumstances. So we will ask you to complete some information as part of the application process. So just so you know, supplying us with this information will not negatively impact anybody's application. So again, there's a QR code on screen. I'm going to leave that up for a second just to allow everyone to scan that. If anybody wants to sign up, I'll send an email round with the links that you really would need, but I'll also share that in the chat as well. And then we can invite you to any events that we're holding ourselves. So if you just open up the camera app on your phone, and if you scan the QR code, then your internet browser should pop up at the top of the screen, and then you can sign up there. So I'll just leave that up for a second, and then I'm going to take these slides down and I will start answering questions.
Hello. Hi, Helen.
Hi.
I am Nisha. I'm from My Placement. Thank you so much for that really insightful presentation. So I've been looking at all the questions coming in, and we've had quite a few. So to start us off, a question's come in is, what are you looking for in an application? What makes a standout application? And what do you see in applications that you advise against?
Sorry, Nisha. So basically all the skills that I put up before on the slide, I think hopefully everyone's taken a picture of that so they can all see that. But we just think people that are really well-rounded individuals always do well. So, you know, people that have different life experiences and have learned from those experiences and are able to put those into words. So, you know, you could gain skills that are relevant for EY in anything like a job in a cafe, a job in New Look, you know, babysitting your younger siblings, things like that. You know, you don't think that just because you don't have experience in an accountancy firm that it's not relevant. Um, we don't, I mean, the application forms don't really count. So it's more like people that we see in person. It's when we kind of see them in person, that's when I would be able to tell whether we wouldn't be taking them or not. So things like being overly cocky, very arrogant, it comes across that you're not such a good team player, and a lot of the people assessing you during the experience day, they would be thinking, you know, could I work with this person on my team? And if you're in there interrupting a load of people and not letting anyone get their idea across, they're going to think, nah, I couldn't work with you. It would just be too difficult. So that's one thing, knowing nothing about EY as well. You know, sometimes we see people who get through the online process without knowing that much about our business and what we do. But the majority of people that we see, they're all really, really good candidates. And, you know, just being enthusiastic and chatty is, you know, one of my favorite things about people.
Oh, nice. Great answer. Another question that's come up is, when are the open dates for, so when the applications open for the industrial placements and summer internships?
Yeah, they're all open now. I would recommend people get their applications in as soon as possible because we just have a rolling deadline. We don't have any set deadlines. So just when they fill, they'll close. So I just think get your application in as soon as possible. The other thing is, if you fail, you have to wait 6 months to reapply. So the earlier you get that application in, the more chance you can reapply within this recruitment cycle, and the role that you're looking for won't really fill.
Yeah, brilliant. And are there any resources that you recommend for students to look at before
Yeah.
they apply?
Let me just, shall I put them all in the chat?
You're welcome. You can do that now. We could do it after at your booth later on.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll send one in now. So this is where I would recommend do online tests. So that's jobme.com. And then I'll just put links to the careers website and stuff in my booth after this.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I would just recommend like being aware of the news, maybe set up a Google alert for EY. So any new news stories will pop up on your screen. You'll get actual notifications about those. Just know what's going on in the world around you, I think, and definitely practicing online tests is the most important thing.
Yeah, just keeping up to date with current affairs is definitely move forward. So EY being one of the big four, we really just want to know, what are your core values and what makes you stand out from other firms?
So our core values are, let me try and remember the actual quotes off the top of my head. When I first started, I would have known all this off by heart, but I've got a bit complacent now. We want people to make decisions based on doing the right thing. We value respect, integrity, and teaming, so people working together. We want to empower our local offices. Well, so what's the word? I can't remember the actual phrase that we use, but basically we put a lot into our local offices in order to empower our global business. So we are very much based on, like we like to do a lot of things based around the local offices because that helps empower. For example, a lot of investment is going into Newcastle at the minute. Some jobs that were in London are now being moved to Newcastle, and that's really helping the local economy and helping bring those businesses and areas and cities into the forefront as well. So I think that's a really good sustainable business model rather than just kind of pumping everything into London and creating one hub in a whole country. It's just, that's not the way things should happen. I think that things definitely, we need investment across the whole of the UK, and that's something that EY is doing. I also mentioned like entrepreneurial. So we support entrepreneurs. We run a competition called Entrepreneur of the Year every year, and that's helping people start up their small businesses as well.
Brilliant. Definitely something to look forward to. You asked a question about what are you looking for in an employer for students, and I've just pulled some of the answers out. So you have stuff like support, development, innovation, diversity and inclusion, community, well-being, and culture. And I think culture is a really big one, especially for the students too.
Yeah.
So can you just describe a bit of EY's culture?
Yeah. So we're actually known as the friendliest of the big four. I used to work for ICAW, so I worked with a lot of accountancy firms, big and small. And when I left and was joining EY, it's the comment that I got the most, oh, you've picked the friendliest of the big four. And I've definitely found that everyone's really normal, very down to earth. You expect people that are, could be getting paid a lot of money and are at the top of their careers to be quite maybe a bit standoffish or a bit arrogant, but everyone's just so lovely. And in the office, when we're actually there, we have a hot desking set up, so I could be sat beside. In fact, I often sit beside a tax partner called Amanda. We sit beside each other most days. There's no offices where people would be separate from everyone else. There's no like glass cages that people would be in thinking that they're better than everyone else. Everyone just sits together, and it's a real community. And there's people, it's just really nice. I tend to find when I go to all the other offices, it's the same kind of culture across all of them, which is a good thing. So it's not just the Northern Newcastle office, it's really friendly. It's London, it's Birmingham, everywhere. It's just everyone's really willing to help you. I think everyone's really nice. So yeah, that's a big thing with our culture. And I think that's pretty much recognized across the industry as well.
Oh, well, that's great to know. Yeah. And what is like the work-life balance at EY?
So I did mention on the slides with some of the service lines that you'll have your busy periods and you'll have your not so busy periods. So with audit and tax, you'll know when your busy periods are, so you can plan accordingly. And then you've got a bit of downtime in other, different months of the year. And then with consulting and strategy and transactions, it's a little bit different. So you could just get notification basically about a project coming in the day before, and then suddenly you'll be busy. So it's a little bit more stop start. But with every busy period, there's always a downtime as well. So nobody is just constantly busy throughout the year. So there is some times where you'll be really busy and you'll be working past deadline and you'll be, working into the night, but you'll also be working with your team. When you're working in the office, a lot of them order Dominoes and get dinner and things like that. This would normally be my busy period. So October, November, December, until Christmas tends to be really busy for me. Not so much this year because everything's happening virtually. So I'm not really traveling as much as I have to. But then, for example, May would be a really quiet month for me. And I definitely think that managers and all the teams are like, oh, okay, well, you've been so busy now. So why don't you just finish early this day? And you tend to get a few hours back and here and there. And people really recognize that. And also when you're studying, people, if you're on study leave, that you can't be bothered about client work. No one's allowed to contact you about that. You're given the study leave and the days allocated for you to actually do that work. So there's a good balance in there with the studying as well.
Oh, yeah, it seems like a great work-life balance there. And how much exposure do the students get to clients too during their placements? And
like as much as a graduate would. So in your placement and your summer internship, you would be, for example, if you're working in audit, you would be out on client site from pretty much probably day two. Tax, you might not be on client site, but you'll definitely have access to those clients over email and over the phone as well. And it's the same with consulting and strategy and transactions. So yeah, that's it's just it's straight away. Like we definitely wouldn't have anyone be making cups of teas or anything like that.
Yeah, it's get your hands dirty from day one.
Yeah, definitely. And we give you the support as well. Like nobody will be thrown in at the deep end. We would never send someone to a client site on their own for the first time. Like it would be, you'd be going with someone who was maybe the year above you and has some more experience and things like that. So you don't need to worry about that either.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you give support to students wanting to do the ACCA qualification during their industrial placement?
Yeah, so it depends on what service line you're in, on what qualification you'll do. So if you're in assurance, tax, or strategy and transactions, you will either do ACA or ICAS, and you will start that in your industrial placement. So you would do 1 full year of that qualification. And then when you come back with us on the graduate scheme, you would be starting as a second year graduate. So you will have already done 1 year as a graduate, basically.
Yeah. No,
so it's a really good head start.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone's asked, can you apply for the summer internship and the industrial placement at the same time?
No, you can only do one application at one time. So you can only apply to one location at a time. You can only apply to one service line at a time, and you can only apply to one program at a time as well.
Okay. No. And with students who have done a placement or internship, do you find a lot of them come back to the graduate scheme?
Yeah, definitely. I would say over 80% would definitely come back. For the industrial placement, I think it's more like 90-odd%. So yeah, a lot of people come back, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of locations, you said there's certain service lines and certain locations. Is there any locations that have more service lines than others?
So London would have all the service lines, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Manchester, they have all of them. Newcastle doesn't have strategy and transactions. Hull only has assurance. Leeds has all of them. This is just off the top of my head. Glasgow have pretty much all of them, I think. So yeah, it just depends on what service line you want to apply for. And then, like I said, I think it's more important to pick a service line because that'll be the actual work that you're doing day to day, and then pick a location after that.
Yeah.
But you can go on the location pages on the website and you can see like what service lines operate there.
Brilliant. Yeah. And is that okay? You can send that link afterwards. Well, you can put it in your booth. And,
yeah, absolutely.
You can see that. That's great. We've got another question about what support do EY offer people at work with disabilities?
So we would have a meeting with you before you start, and we would just basically make any reasonable adjustments that you need. So that could be like a desk chair, it could be a type of laptop that you need. It would be, you know, we do whatever we can. So we have a network called EY Ability, and they're there to support you through, you know, throughout your entire career. So if you're having any issues, you would go straight to them, or you could go to your counsellor or your manager. And we're set up in a way that we will help everyone with disabilities. We want EY to be accessible for everybody. So you would just need to discuss your specific needs with us, and then we would just do whatever we can to make that happen.
Yeah, it's very helpful there. And then another question is, what made you want to work for EY, and what is your favourite thing about working?
What maybe, God, it's so long ago. I joined in 2017. I can't remember what my reasons were for applying, but I just, like I'd said, I'd worked with EY before, and I'd worked with a lot of the other big four and smaller ones, and I'd done joint events with them and things like that. And one thing that really I loved about EY is just that we don't screen out people based on their academics, because I think that's just so important. Like, my A level, my GCSEs were fantastic, if I do say so myself, but my A levels weren't so good. But that doesn't mean that I'm not an intelligent person. It's just I wasn't interested in school at that time of my life. So I don't believe in screening people out based on who they were when they were 18 years old. You know, it just, you're a different person back then, and people change. And I think that that's really important, is to give every single person a chance. And also it depends on your socioeconomic status. It depends on your home life. There's so many different factors that would play into what you got in your A levels. So I just think it's good that when I joined, we didn't take academics into account at all. But then we found there was a correlation with people getting maybe lower grade A levels and then their performance in their professional qualification. And we do have a duty of care to our graduates. We don't want you to come in and for us to not set you up for success. So we do need to take that into consideration to make sure that, you know, we're not bringing you into a job and making you do a qualification that you probably, like, you might not be suited for. So we need to take that into account. But at the same time, I just love that we give everyone a chance to show who they are. So yeah, I think that's what that's probably one of the main reasons that I liked EY. I also like their work with the EY Foundation. I like their commitment to diversity and inclusion. And my favorite thing about working with them is just, I love getting, you know, going out and speaking to people and seeing them. So I'm really missing that at the minute. You know, I hate being in an office or hate being at home, and I do a lot of travel with my job. So yeah, I'm really, really missing that at the minute. I think that's probably one of my favorite things, is how many people I get to see and speak to and meet on like a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's the same for everyone, isn't it? Working from home now. But yeah, that's the end of my questions. I just want to say thank you very, very much for that. And if you want to go and speak to Helen after in the booth, you're more than welcome to. You said you've got some links to share. So, yes, please head over to the booth after this. And yes, thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Nisha. Thank you. And thanks everyone for all your questions. I'll be in the booth till about 5 o'clock. So I'll just head over there now.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.